So fasting is a really controversial topic, especially for women, and I have had my fair share of fasting. So if you don't know my story, when I was in high school, I was yo-yo dieting. Even back until I was 6 years old, I was in Weight Watchers, counting my portions and fat grams, and then later in high school, you know, it was more up to me, and I was going to the gym all night. I would stay on the elliptical until it closed, and then I would eat lean cuisines in the daytime and Diet Coke, or I would just not eat all day at school because I didn't want anybody to see me eating, and then when I got home, I would eat everything in the whole fridge. So back in high school, we would just call it dieting. We didn't call it fasting, even though that's kind of what we did, was just drink Diet Coke all day. But then later, it changed a little bit, and I started to be a little more responsible and started to learn about healthy eating. And some of the things were good, some of the things were not so good. And I started to cook for myself and started to eat a lot of like low-fat meals and things like that. So I was eating meals better than starving myself, but I was still eating very low-fat. And so I have a lot of experience with food restriction and dieting, and so whenever I do something like fasting, it brings up all those old feelings and all of that terrible feeling that I used to have when I would try to restrict my food. So there's a lot of negative connotations for me around fasting, and that's why I don't talk about it that much, and sometimes I don't think it's really that good, especially for females, and especially if you're having trouble with your cycles and things like that. You really want to be careful with fasting, and because I think women, you know, a lot of us are very perfectionistic, and we want to, if we can do it good, well, why not do it perfect? And you know, that's also a method of control that we have, is to control over our food. Sometimes we don't have control over our life in other ways, but that's a way we can control. So I mean, it can bring up a lot of negative patterns for people, especially if they've done a lot of dieting in the past. So if you can do fasting, I think it's great if you feel like it's bringing a positive thing into your life. Now, if it's making you crazy, or you're starving, or you're white knuckling, I mean, you hear this a lot. If you're having to suffer through the day because you're trying to meet some fasting goal that you heard about on a podcast or on another show or in a book, then maybe it's not right for you. So lately I've been experimenting with a 16-8 fast. So that means there's a lot of different fasting windows you can do. 16-8 means you would eat for 8 hours of the day and fast for 16. So this seems to be the least detrimental as far as to my mental health. And so that is something you could try if you want to just dip your toe in the water with fasting, because there's something called autophagy, which is where the cells, the yucky cells that are in your body will die off after a certain amount of time. And a lot of people believe that's 16 hours, maybe even 12 to 16 hours. So if you want to do less than that, you can always try a little bit less. But that seems to be a sweet spot that's not creating very negative patterns for me. So I'm trying 16-8 for a while. If it impedes on my relationship or on my social life, then I may decide, okay, this is not the good day to do this. I may just do it every now and then. I mean, you can incorporate fasting any way you want. Some people do one meal a day. Some people do fasting one day a week. And there's a million ways to do it for your lifestyle, and you don't have to do it at all. If you're eating a paleo or keto or even a carnivore diet, you don't have to fast. I mean, that's just an extra bonus. You're already winning at life if you're following an anti-inflammatory and ancestral diet. So those are some of my thoughts on fasting. If you have any questions, please leave them below. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel and share this with a friend. See you next time. Bye-bye.